Hi.
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome. Welcome in.
Hi. How we doing?
Hey, it's Friday, everybody.
It
So
is,
you know
cheers.
what that means.
Cheers to Friday. Lukewarm water. Always my favorite.
Hey, that's better for you.
It is much better for you, actually. To
So
not drink cold water.
you did that. You did that pretty well. The lukewarm water thing.
I did it well.
Speaking of doing it well,
Welcome, everyone.
welcome in
did
everybody.
I know?
Swifter Bear, Lumberjack,
How did I know that was where
Rattle,
that was going?
Alex, WP, Sarcastic Grandpa, Thumb Palette Enthusiast, Papa Chicken right out the gate. The other day I asked my surgeon if I could administer my own anesthesia. They said, go ahead, knock yourself out. Hot.
Wow.
Right out the gate.
Wow.
That's what I always say here
Just-
at Monument Hobbies.
Just wow. I don't even know anything to say other than
Wow. Wow.
just wow.
Been jamming a new wisdom and changed the whole drive to Virginia to PA. Nice, Lumberjack. D Fresh, welcome in. Kyle Sparks, Okran. T Schmid. Wow, this whole model just changed, didn't it? The whole vibe.
The whole vibe.
The whole thing changed.
Christopher.
Like within the last, 30 minutes of stream yesterday when you were
Whole vibe change.
blowing
Yes.
our minds.
Yes.
So, yeah. What are you going to do now, Jason?
I'm starting with some yellow because that's where we left off,
Oh, right, yes.
right? I was finding a way to spot glaze some yellow on here. We had done it on the breastplate.
Oh, yes, the highlights.
Yep. I was really digging that, so that's what we're going to pick up
Wow.
today. Is with some yellow. I have to go to a gala tonight with paint on my finger. It's going to be hilarious.
So, what's this gala?
I don't know. It's a thing with some stuff and people.
When someone says they're going to a gala,
It sounds a lot
sounds
more.
very-
It sounds a lot bigger than I'm making it. Like I may show up and they may toss me out because I'm dressed like this, and they want like cocktail dress.
you are in your cocktail dress.
This is
You're in your
exactly how I
Steve
would go to
Jobs.
the cocktail thing. So yes,
This is your Steve Jobs.
I do not dress differently. I do not care. Kick me out. I'm not super excited about it. If you can't tell.
Oh. But it's a gala.
Oh, 100%.
You like that? You like how every time I say gala, you can't see this chat, but I wave my hand in this big, beautiful arch.
He's doing
a
this
gala.
big. It's a gala.
To the gala. You're going to miss painting night for this gala.
I know. It's
There was some real real pain in that one, chat.
it's great. I'm excited.
You'll have a great time when you're there.
Oh, I'll have a blast, I'm sure.
You will.
There's a speaker, so that's nice.
Oh.
Maybe he'll take my pain away.
Are you a speaker?
Only on Tuesdays.
Oh.
Today Tuesday?
Today is not Tuesday.
I am not speaking.
Swifter Bear has a great question for noobs. What is the difference of a black wash and transparent black, and can one replace the other?
Well, they're both going to be used as black filters.
Mm-hmm.
So, they are different in their consistency. A black wash is meant to flow over the surface a little bit more aggressively so that it dumps pigment into the recesses, where a transparent black is just a paint, so it goes where you put it. So you can get it into recesses. You can add glaze wash medium to it and have it act like a wash. They both are low in opacity to start, but the transparent black is a paint, right? Where a wash is a paint in a medium that lets it flow and run over the model, right? It has some petroleum-based products in it that make it flow a little bit differently, stuff like that. So that's the big difference. Can you use them interchangeably? Not right out of the bottle, but you can turn transparent black into a wash. And you can use transparent black with certain limitations. You can use it very similar to the way that you would use the black wash can be used similar to the way that you would use transparent black.
Yeah.
You just have to be careful in that, because the transparent black, the wash is never going to give you the intensity, because you're going to have to get rid of so much of it on your brush before it would do the same lifting. I already put some yellow over on this side.
Okay.
I already put some yellow over on here. I see.
Hopefully that answers your question, Swifter Bear.
I see.
So I just want everybody to know there's a big announcement I'm about to make.
Uh-oh.
It's huge.
You're about to make a big announcement.
Big announcement.
Okay, what's your
Jason
big
has
announcement?
no idea what I'm about to say.
I'm
So
a little scared.
I'm
not
doing
gonna
it
lie.
live, chat. I'm doing it live. I am declaring something right now.
A declaration.
A declaration
of sorts.
Yes. So hold on to your butts. This weekend, or not this weekend, but sometime before next stream, I will be cleaning Jason's palette. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you.
I don't buy it.
You know you've already purchased it. It's right under there.
I literally don't buy it.
What do you mean you don't buy it?
I
Sugar Rush.
think what's going to happen is he's gonna clean my palette when I'm out of town.
No. That's so far away. You're not leaving for a long time. It's not next week. It's not the following week. It's the
So I'm
week
about
after
to use
that.
white blue.
Oh, he's just ignoring me now.
White blue is a great color that goes on my dirty palette.
That is not my job, Mo. It is now because I declared it.
No, every time we look at the dirty palette, he says, "Oh, would you like me to clean that for you?" As
No.
if it's the first time we've had that conversation.
I'm just saying that it'll be clean.
Well,
And there will be an improvement to it. This is the second part of this. There will be an improvement to it. Okay. All right, everybody.
I hear Charlie Brown's teacher in the background.
Shame. It's got to go on such a dirty palette. That's right, Flapjack. You now have a
Is that how he wrote that?
No, I just said it. I don't know
Is that
why.
how he wrote that? Did he write it in that
Shame.
accent?
It's got to go on such a dirty palette. Yeah, I got it, Flapjack. I get it. All right. It will be cleaned. I will not replace it with a wet palette, Brutal Burrito. Jason does not use a wet palette. I'm just going to get him a piece of tile. Flapjack said, "That's exactly how I meant it. Thank you." Good. Papa Chicken says, "Been studying references and I'm not sure how to attack this one. If I'm trying to get the same type of effect as a super shiny red car where it's red, where it's red, but also is a perfect mirror and you can't see any of the red, how do I paint that?" If I'm trying to get the same type of effect as a super shiny car where it's red, but also it's a perfect mirror and you can't see any of the red, how do I paint that? Papa Chicken, that's some Morse code there.
I'm not following.
If I'm trying to get the same type of effect as a super shiny red car,
Super shiny red
where
car.
it's red,
Where it's red.
but also it's a perfect mirror and you can't see any of the red, how do I paint that? Man, Papa Chicken, what are you painting?
I literally think he makes this stuff up.
I think so.
He's just sitting around going, "How can I stump this guy?"
Sometimes I think so.
Because I'm not following at all. You want to paint a red car that's not red, is what I heard.
But it's red.
But I don't understand that.
So is it
Those
like
don't work.
such a metallic, shiny red that it's almost mirror-like? You'll have to help a brother out. I love this question, but I'm also extremely confused by it.
Extremely confused.
Papa Chicken says, "You know how if they detail a car
Mm-hmm.
and the clear coat reflects the sky, but there's also the red color under the smooth clear coat. Like the car is so shiny. So the car is red, but it's so shiny that it reflects like chrome or a mirror ?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just reflecting the sky, the blue, or whatever you're putting on there, right?
Okay.
I think you just have it kind of it's not that it's that it is so reflective as a surface overall that you're getting that that reflection back on it. Just like if this armor, or if the blue on this armor, if this were green armor but was so shiny that the sky is reflecting back in it with that little bit of blue or green that I've got, it's the same thing that we're doing here, right? It literally is no different. It's just a matter of you determining how much of that mirror-like finish that you're wanting to put on there are you trying to represent in the end.
Yeah.
Right? Just add a little bit of the color into your midtone. You know, your highlight is going to be whatever the color of the light in the area is typically, right? So if it's sunlight, then it's going to be maybe a pale yellow or something like that. And then you want to directly after you get your brightest highlight on the model, then you start thinking in terms of, okay, well, what other reflected environment colors am I trying to represent here?
Yeah.
And you start placing those in there as well, right? And sometimes that would then lead into a red.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a blue and from the sky, and then, you know, a bright white light maybe, and then you've got a little bit of red in the midtones, and as you go into your shadow areas, that's all that works. I mean, Google shiny red car, I bet you find quite a bit of reference material.
Hey, Wad, thank you for that sub. 42 months subbed. Wad, you're crazy.
Wad, you're awesome.
We love that. Speaking of Wad, welcome in, everybody. Today's Friday.
It doesn't make any sense.
Today's a beautiful Friday.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. I can tell you why it makes sense.
It makes no sense.
Because today...
Speaking of Wad...
Speaking of Wad, good evening. And welcome. If you
Wad, I
are
love you. I just have no idea how you became a segue.
That's
material
good.
there.
That's a high It's a high honor to become a segue.
It makes no sense.
Speaking of Jason painting models, welcome in.
We weren't speaking about me.
If you're all just now tuning in this week, welcome. Where have you been? It is a beautiful day here in Phoenix, Arizona. Jason has been using the heavy bodies this past week. So if you missed any of the VODs and want to see how our expert artist acrylics work, go back and rewind. Sit down, relax, put some paint on the model, and watch the magic at work. And he's using some today. And these will be coming out next week. So stay tuned. Thank you for the insights. I promise I'm not just trying to stump you all. I washed my car the other day and I have since been stumped. I spend a lot more time thinking about painting than actually painting. Ooh.
No, that's good. It's good to recognize color in the world like that, right? And then think like, how would I achieve that? That's part of the amazing, growth that you can find as an artist, is trying to recreate things out in the world, right? Trust me, I'm right there with you. Jen starts to look and say, oh, I look at color totally different. She'll see something that's like, oh, I get it. That's kind of a grayish blue. I would have never paid attention to what color that really was in the past. And now she tends to look at things a lot differently. So we all do it. Never feel bad about it. We'll just give you a lot of grief along the way. Keep you honest. Like, are you really asking this question? Because anytime you're painting a reflected surface, the shinier it is, right?
Yeah.
The more polished it is, the shinier it is, however you want to say that, the more environmental color is going to reflect in it. Technically that's kind of what I'm doing here. I don't know what the environment is, but I'm just putting random colors on it that read as, oh, well, that is the color around, the object.
Yeah. So what color is this armor in your mind, Jason?
Right. Just some form of steel.
Some form of steel, but it's reflecting a lot of different colors, obviously, with the environment.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers your question there, Papa Chicken.
I don't always think about it in those terms, right? Generally when you hear me talking about painting non-metallic, I'm like, oh yeah, this is gold. Mm-hmm. but the colors and such have a lot more to do with the model and what I'm looking to do and things like that than any kind of perfect way to paint it.
Or being like, hey, this is this color, or you know, that color. That makes sense. Pigman, welcome in. General Ginkgo, welcome in.
We're back to that bright, shine color that brings the metallic
The white blue.
nature back to it. I'm using white blue, yeah.
Love white blue.
It's a great color for this.
Blood Walrus, welcome in.
These are the ever-loving Deets and Doots.
Ah, yes. The ever-loving. Jeremy C. has a question. I'm a brand new painter.
Sure, welcome.
I'm getting frustrated by paint drying too quick in my brush.
Okay.
How do you know your paint is thin enough to flow but thick enough to cover and give you enough time to paint? Ooh, that's a brilliant question.
So there's a video up on our YouTube where I talk about thinning with just the water on my palette.
I'll link that.
And I show the way that I do it. You'll see my palette up here, and my water cup's up here. Mm-hmm. And so I'll rinse the brush out, and then however much water it has in it, right? So like this is, you can see a big drop of water. That's too much. That if I go and touch the paint with this, I get a glaze. So let's just do that. Let me pull a little tail out of my white blue with that much water on, and I'll move the paint away from the droplet so I don't ruin the droplet with the water. I pull the tail out, and then I have all this watery paint down here. So a brush load of water when I go back over here to test it is going to give me a paint that has very little pigment, right? As I paint this over my tattoo, you can see all the way through it. The only time you're getting any pigment is when it's catching my hand hair here, right? Now that would give you a really, really slight filter, just the slightest bit of white blue to brighten something up, right? So a lot of water dilutes the paint a lot and makes it really runny. So, you have to take, as you see me do here, right? So if I go back over to the cup, get it loaded with water again, what I really want is to wipe it once or twice on my paper towel, then come grab some paint. Now when I come over here, it has a lot more opacity. Okay.
It still flows, yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
It has a lot more opacity. Right. And I still want to take a lot of the paint off on my thumb palette. So my thumb always has paint on it, because no matter how thin it is, there's too much paint on your brush, just period. Just always assume there's too much paint on your brush. Even when base coating, a lot of times when I'm base coating, I won't come wipe it off here. There will be a lot of paint on here, but because I'm covering the whole surface, I can move it around and get it where I need to. But when I'm doing detail work, I know there's always too much paint. So I come take some off, and then I can still come over here and I can still paint my lines. I still have a lot, but I never get any droplets. I get a really even consistency. It's never too thick. It tends to not dry up very fast on the brush this way. Right. And so to tell you like, okay, well, how do I know that? A lot of it is feel and practice, and there's no silver bullet. But, if you come and load your brush up with water, right, hit it on the napkin once, twice, go get you some paint, come over here and go 1, 2, 3 on a paper towel or your thumb, then you're much better off than just going straight to the model. Because now you'll see that I have a lot more paint, right? Each brush stroke without pressing much harder is delivering more paint and thicker lines because I didn't take as much of it off. If I reduce a lot more of the paint, then when I come in and I do my lines at the same pressure, see how thin they are?
Yeah.
Same pressure, I have less paint. Because the way that the brush works is the more paint that's in it, the more paint it delivers with every brush stroke, right? So your lines become thicker. So if you want to make thinner lines, remove most of the paint. Same amount of pressure you always paint with, but the line will be thinner and have more dilution, so it's not as opaque, right? So you can vary your line width, vary your opacity, do all of that just with this simple technique. And that way you're never really pushing too much paint. And then as far as drying, people always ask, like we're here in the desert, and I'll paint with this white blue for a long time. I stop painting with it when I'm out of paint on the brush, right? That's exactly what we're doing here as I'm doing these edge highlights, right? I might hit 6, 7, 8, 9 times on here. It's just having done it enough that I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably the right amount of paint.
And you stop when there's no paint left, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. Or not enough paint to do what I'm trying to do, right?
Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question there, Jeremy. Love that you've started your painting journey.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That brings joy to our hearts. Papa Chicken says, I really hope Jason goes to the gala with all this paint on his hand. And he will.
I won't. I'll wash my hands.
Jeez.
I know.
But how will they see you
At
dance?
the gala, there will be people there who will they will come and grab my hand and be like, oh, you didn't work today if I wash it completely, right? Because they like expect me to have paint on my hand at these things.
Oh, okay.
They know me.
Oh, they know you.
They get it. They know what they're dealing with.
They know what they're getting.
They know what they're getting.
Hey,
they
we
know
know
what they
what we're
signed up
getting.
for.
We're getting good painting. That's right, chat. Getting good painting time in. Whole crew's painting tonight.
Yeah, the rest of the chat, or not chat, the rest of the office is hanging out. I think a lot of people are coming too, right, Chris?
We have I think there's going to be about 15 people. 15,
That's amazing.
16?
That's like half our staff.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We have a couple external people. We have Ryan, our new guy's coming too.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, yes. We have a lot of people coming.
That's crazy.
So
So they'll be painting here at the office tonight and having some fun while Jen and I are off at a gala.
I'm going to set up those lights and
I
such.
hate that term gala. It makes it seem way more fun than
The
it's gonna be.
gala.
I hate that.
Is it at a gala? Is it like at a big hotel?
The Hyatt Regency Scottsdale? Is that a nice hotel?
It's a gala.
Is that a nice hotel?
It's pretty nice.
Oh, okay.
Or it's decent. It's not. It's a gala.
This is what they get, Chris. They get me in jeans, tennis shoes, and
gala.
my work shirt.
No,
That's tattoos and
I see.
That's
That's
it.
good though, because that's your look, man. That's your signature, dude.
I'm 55 years old and I'm done playing games.
Done playing games.
Done
We don't
playing
play
games, chat.
We
Done
don't play
playing
games in here.
We don't play games.
No games. We play games, but we don't play games. Yeah.
Jen will probably put on a dress or something and really upstage me.
Oh, that's great. What if Jen comes in a Dickie's work shirt though, and you guys?
Now I would applaud that tremendously.
What if she comes dressed as you and you go dressed as Jen?
I can't fit into any of her dresses.
Well, that's the fun of it.
It's fun for everybody but me.
Philip says, he's off to the ball to pay respects to the local lord.
Yeah.
The gala.
Something like that.
That'll be really fun. I'm sure you'll have a great time.
There will be people that I enjoy hanging out with there, and that'll
fun.
be worth it.
Heck yeah.
I don't really care about the rest of it. There's some cool stuff. I hope that I have a business mentor, and they are celebrating the best mentor award, and I submitted him for that because he's a tremendous guy and he's helped me a ton.
Nice.
and just my business mentality and stuff. So I did do that. So it would be really cool, but neither he nor his wife are on the RSVP list. So
Oh, how big is it? Like how many people?
Oh, I don't know. 100, 120,
that's pretty
maybe
good
more.
size.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I only look to see if the people I care about are going. And I was like, oh, I hope that he wins this. And he won't even be there.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll show up and there just didn't RSVP or something. I don't know. But that's pretty funny to me.
I think that'll be fun though. You'll have a good time.
Shiny breastplate.
Shiny breastplates. What a life.
What a life. What a life.
Flapjack says, Jason, you would look good in a dress or great in a dress. Okay.
Okay, so
well,
let me tell you how wrong you are.
Okay.
Okay. While I applaud your enthusiasm there.
Yeah.
Incorrect. my friend.
Incorrect. No.
Incorrect, my
False.
friend. Hmm.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to paint tonight.
What are you going to paint tonight, Chris?
I was going to try to speed paint my orcs.
Like all of them?
A good amount of them. Let's
Holy
get paint
cow.
on the model. There's only like 10.
Oh, okay. Well,
Or maybe make some bases. I brought whatever. Awkwardish, welcome in. How are you? We're doing great around here. And I speak for me and we and all of us when I say we are great. You are great.
Chris doing what Chris does best.
It's Great Friday. Just a great, beautiful Friday.
He means we the people.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Goes without saying. Northrek says, only tip I know for speed painting orcs is do the skin last. Oh, I see. Who knows what I'm going to do, chat? That's what I brought, but I might end up doing some like red alien style bases or something.
I'm liking that.
Looks pretty good to me. Let's see what it looks like from here. Ooh.
Getting some of our shine back, which I think is cool, but keeping it in a neat, darker color overall.
Oh, you're
right?
keeping it cool.
Keeping it cool.
Call it a kilt and you're good, Jason, says Michael Holtz. Oh.
Call it a kilt?
If you were going to wear a dress.
Oh. Well, I'm not. So.
What?
No.
I thought you had a whole plan.
No.
False.
I do have a plan. I'm going exactly like I am. I'm going to leave here and go pick Jen up at the house.
I see.
That's my plan. That's 100% of my plan. They will valet my car and they will like it.
And they will like it. Oh, and they'll like it.
Oh, they'll like it.
Oh,
all right.
and they'll dance.
So I'm using the white blue fairly thin. I'm brush load of water, one wipe on the paper towel, and then over here so that I can glaze with this as I find the highlight spots again. This first layer won't be near as bright. That lets me seat it on here and make sure I'm happy with it without like over committing.
Baznat. Speed painting orcs, or actually anything. Cover them in white glue, dip them in flock, and call it bush camo. I've been there, done that.
Yeah, have you seen his giants? I feel
Been
like this
there.
person knows you.
Done that. It's Baznat.
It's
Great
almost
idea.
Like, it's almost like they know you.
But I won't. Can't go back. No, I shan't go back. Hey, you know what we could tell the folks is what we're planning on doing next week.
Uh-oh.
Or should we keep it a surprise?
It's up to you. That's your gig.
Folks.
Not next week. It's week after.
So, Jason and I, we have this meeting that...
Oh, no. You're talking about what I'm doing next week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. What were
I thought you
talking-
meant the week after when I'm gone.
Oh, no. No, I'm talking about next week's little series that we came up with.
It relies heavily on a person who isn't in here who swears to God they're going to come through for us. So
I talked to
we'll see.
him. I talked to Kyle.
Okay.
He's the man.
You're staying on top of it.
I'm staying on top of it.
Okay.
Stubbing it, right? I'm staying on top of it. If you here's the deal. Next week, Jason and I, right? Jason and I and we all are going to do some old hammer painting, chat. So I would like you all to get hype because we're gonna paint some old Warhammer models
Yes.
that I'm very excited about. Because Jason will have just about a week and a little bit of extra to do some old hammer painting. How old, Sir Blame? Old. Old Gandalf. Butter scraped over too much bread. Oh, yes. We're gonna be painting some old Hammer, so stay tuned. We have a meeting every Friday morning that surprises Jason when I walk into his office, and he goes, "What are you doing in here?" And I say, "That's a great question." And then we proceed to have a very quick, efficient meeting about what we're going to do on stream the following week.
This is all true.
Isn't that correct?
All true.
You're like, "What are you doing here?"
I do say
And
that.
I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing in here?" He's like, "What do you want?" And then I'm like, "We got a meeting." "Oh yeah." And then we sit down and we converse. So today,
This is not one of those where I say doot de doot doot or whatever.
no, he goes,
thinks I
"Do
said.
do 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 do." Well, sit on down.
That's not what happens there.
I don't know why you just became Jimmy Stewart in this fantasy. Well, sit on down, Chris, and we'll talk about stream next week. So, anyway, we talked about painting some old models because I'd like to see some old models painted. So, Pikmin, I just pulled an old 40K model from 1995. We might be going a little older,
Yeah.
Pikmin. Believe it or not. Wink, wink. Stay tuned. That's all the details I'm going to give you. So get ready, chat. We have efficiently painted up a lot of good examples on this gal here, I would believe. Really gave you a taste of the heavy bodies, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so Jason and I will be painting some old Hammer next week. So stay tuned for that, chat. There you go. Agrippa says, time for Chaos Warrior with axe. Well, we tried to find one of those. Not out of the realm of possibility, but we have some ideas. We have some ideas coming. So you all will be able to have a little bit of fun with that. And then after that, then it's just gonna be me and Baby J the following week after that. We're really ahead of schedule. We got a plan, chat. We got a big plan. No, we're not going to do that. Philip says I have super old Nurgle model you can have. No, we're going we have an idea already.
Where'd you get it, Phil? Did you get mine from Adepticon?
No, I think Philip found that a while ago.
I had
No
I
walking
got
harder.
given an old Nurgle Marine
A Nurgle
by
Marine.
Louise
Oh yeah.
at Adepticon, and I can't find it. So
Philip says no, I have an old great unclean one from the 80s, I think.
oh, the little one.
Walking harder, there will not be a face cam. No. Oh, Philip says it's epic scale.
Oh, geez. Like the Forge World one? It's the same as the big one, just teeny.
Yes.
Yeah. That's back when Forge World were the only ones that made those models. Kids
Pop
these
the
days
chicken.
probably don't even know what Forge World was. Back in my day, GW couldn't even make their own cool models.
Papa Chicken says, I don't think I'm providing a hot take at all here, but the AOS minis are far better than 40K minis. Why do you think that's the case? Are they playing it safe, or is there some inherent advantage that fantasy has over sci-fi? Well, I think that's also, Papa Chicken, very subjective, because some people might say the opposite. There's a lot of old 40K miniatures still out there, though.
I tend to agree with you on the standpoint of like fantasy always tends to have the upper hand when it comes to the amount of cool things you can do with it. I think that as sci-fi models get more engrossing, they tend to have a lot of the details that fantasy miniatures would. I think that's why people really like the Space Wolf with like the pelts and all that
Pretty
stuff on
cool.
them, makes them more like Viking warriors and stuff.
You kind of have best of both worlds in that experience a little bit. That's why I like
There's
them.
only so many ways to model armor and a gun.
Yeah, that's
And,
true.
and sci-fi is all armor and a gun.
And Space
and the
Marines are
really
Space
cool
Marines.
sci-fi tends to, well, for me, the really cool sci-fi tends to be more like Dune with ornithopters and still suits and leather and cloth capes, and it feels more fantasy, right? It feels like there's less of that high-tech stormtrooper feel.
Yeah.
and more of a a cloth and beaten materials and things like that. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, I think that you're right. I think that the big models in fantasy tend to look a lot better and be more striking because, of course, and also you get dragons.
Yeah, that's true.
You can get cool creatures and stuff, whereas in sci-fi, those same creatures don't carry the weight necessarily.
Pickman says, "I wish I could get my hands on some old Inquisitor figures."
We've got
I think
the Inquisitor.
Which Inquisitor?
The big ones. Is that what you're talking about, St. John?
I think Kyle was talking about some of those today.
They're like 56 mil Inquisitor models. That's some neat ones.
Dumbris, Judge Dredd. No, I don't remember. Well, you'll have to see, you'll have to wait and see. Yeah, you'll just have to wait and see. What is this figure? It is Seraphim the Wraith's Queen. That's what he's painting right now.
I'm always stopping to take a look at the piece.
Yeah.
You'll notice.
Just
Make
kind
sure
of
that the highlights are reading the way I want them to and so forth. So
it's looking great.
we're not putting a whole lot of paint on here, but whenever you're doing these types of highlights, this is where the model comes to life when doing non-metallic metal. And you got to be very careful because it's very easy to overdo it. Each brushstroke has such a big effect on the model. So you have to be a little careful on how you maintain your what do we call it? I say that a lot of people paint like it's the buffet. You fill your plate with your eyes, not your stomach. So you see something coming that, something that you're doing on the model that's really cool, and you keep doing it, like weathering a Nurgle model. And you put so much grime and goop because every brushstroke feels like it's awesome. And at the end, it's like, oh, that looks like a big mud monster now.
Sure.
Right? It's just too much at some point. So gotta be careful.
Shadowcast. Proper question now. I want to try making a scale size banner out of cloth. Any tips?
Why cloth? I ask because I prefer plastic card. Get yourself a cheap heat gun, not a hairdryer, but an actual heat gun, and some plastic card, and you'll be a lot happier with banners that you make. Now, you will have to paint the texture on said banner because cloth would give you some texture, so there's that, right? So I could understand why you might not want to go that route, but I prefer plastic card because you can create the shape, you can heat it up, bend it to the shape you want, and it holds that shape forever. Cloth, you have to put like Mod Podge or something crazy on it that generally then gets rid of the texture of why you use the cloth in the first place, and is harder to mold sometimes. Beer can aluminum for banners, except it's sharp as hell, and I would not recommend it because you will cut yourself.
Yeah.
It's too thin to sand. You can't get beer can aluminum to not be sharp. You can't dull the edge because it's so narrow, right? It's like monofilament blade. It just isn't going to not be sharp. But I know people that do use it. Either works. You just saw one from cloth at your local store. Yeah, you can definitely do them in cloth.
Help community. No, those are we're talking about our heavy bodies that are coming out next week. Our expert artist acrylics.
Heck no. We're Monument Hobbies. We make our own paints. It's called Pro Acryl. Ta-da!
That's right.
We are the manufacturers. Welcome to Monument Hobbies HQ here in Phoenix, Arizona. We make the best paints on the planet. And then we paint with them live here.
Monday through Friday, Mountain Standard Time, 2 to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time means a standard unit of time in the United States of America and not a Western oil company.
I don't even know why you came up with that. It doesn't make any sense.
Why not? Mountain Standard, man. Sounds like an oil company. Mountain Standard.
Sounds like a chewing tobacco.
Okay, there you go. That works too. Good old Mountain Standard.
I'm literally just stippling the shine on here.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of area, so I got to be very careful how much of the shine I actually put on here with a bright color, or I'll cover up all the other colors I've already used. And that's a problem. That's when you run into issues. So it's using barely the last longest hair of the brush here to get my initial paint on, and then coming back and kind of stippling and reforming it into larger areas if I need to.
Thumbpound says, every time you say Mountain Standard, I can feel my left arm getting a sunburn from taking all this oil around. Yes, I see. But it sounds like, I think it sounds like an oil company. But hey, you know what? Tomato, tomato.
There we go.
Brew Burrito says, would you guys ever make a paint retarder to slow drying time to assist with the wet blending and stuff?
We have two. One of them is called Glaze Wash Medium. It extends the dry time a little and works pretty well for when you're wet blending to extend the time. If you're looking for more than that, Noosh. But you have to be careful with Noosh because Noosh extends the drying time tremendously. So, what do you need?
I just wanted to come. Hi and goodbye.
Please, ladies and gentlemen,
You walked right into my
Amanda.
hand.
look at this.
I boobed her. She walked right into my hand.
Look at that.
I have to go home so I can steam your dress.
Oh. Yes.
See what I have to put up with, Chet? It
That's great.
doesn't stop when I leave work
I
either, because
love
this
it.
one goes home
There it is.
with me. That's
There
that's
it
the
is.
real trauma
Oh,
of it. Is I'm wearing
welcome.
it. Seems like I'm wearing a dress tonight.
that's right.
So, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing...
She's wearing a Dickies shirt.
Yes, I'm wearing it.
You should actually.
I know. I have nice pants and a nice shirt.
Okay.
To the gala.
All right, you'll
I'm
make
not wearing a
us
dress.
look better.
Yes.
All right, good. All right, cool. All right, bye.
Oh
babe.
my gosh. Thank you, Jen. Hearts up for Jen, everybody. That's great. Take it easy. Have a good one. That's great. We want pictures of Jason in the dress.
You do not want pictures of me in a dress. Trust me.
Oh my goodness.
That is not what the world needs.
Help community. It is. We are in Arizona. It is 2 p.m. To 4 p.m. is when we stream. Right now, it is 2:44 p.m.
2:44.
Oh, you're in Spain. Nice.
Awesome.
Yes, that's great.
Pop me back in, Christopher.
Okay. Oop. That's great. Oh, yes, he could go in the seal of approval outfit, but that thing is essentially a down blanket. So in Arizona, it does not compute.
Oh man, that thing's
Spaz-
hot.
It's cool.
A lot of fun. But holy hell.
Oh, Gerald Gigo says, show me a picture of Jason in a dress. I'll share one of mine in a dress. Okay, equally terrifying. General Ginkgo, hey.
So you assume that whole argument requires me to have wanted a picture of you in a dress too. It's like, oh yeah, that made this better.
You know what I really would like?
That made this better.
General
Let's
Ginkgo in a
trade.
dress.
Let's trade.
That's a very
I
good
don't want
point.
it to get weird in here, chat, but if there's one thing I'm always thinking of, it's you in a dress.
Jason, we don't let things get weird in here.
I just said I preface. That's why it's okay if I preface it that way, right? It's like,
Oh.
Chad, I'm not trying to make things weird, but
Oh, we run a tight ship.
tight ship.
Isn't that right, Jason?
100%.
You know what?
I know a lot of whats and a couple of who's, Chris.
I'm getting this back. Back to serious business painting extravaganza stream 101. Okay? If you're here for the first time, holy cow, that's awesome.
Welcome.
Second, we, as I say we, I mean you and me and Jason, we are painting this model alongside Jason. And I hope you are painting right now wherever you are. Question of brushes. I always struggle with brush control. My intention makes me choose shorter hair, but is there a way around this? My intuition makes me choose shorter hair, but is there another way around this?
Well, I think that for everybody, we talk about this a lot, that I think for everyone, you wind up in a situation where you think you're painting something small, so you need a small brush. And if we talk about the mechanics of brushes, you need more filament in your brush to be able to control paint better. The fewer filaments that are in the brush, the less control you have over how it retains and then delivers paint onto the surface. So that's why tiny brushes tend to, well, number one, they dry out real quick because they don't hold a lot of paint. So with one brush stroke, you could be out of paint. It just releases all of it. And there's not as much, they call it friction, right? To be able to allow you to control it. Obviously, as the size of the brush goes up, the diameter of the bundle gets increasingly larger, and the amount of filaments in the brush increases exponentially. There's not just double the amount of filament from like a number 1 to a number 2, and then a number 2 to a number 4. It winds up being tremendous as the diameter grows. So the more filament that's in it, the better it retains and draws paint into the bristles, and the more control you have of how it releases, because now you have a brush that can respond better to pressure. The harder I press on the surface, the more or less paint that it gives out. And so you can vary your line width, and you get a lot more of what we will discuss as being learning brush control is learning these things. So having good brush control with a tiny brush is still a thing, but it's more about steady hand, stabilization of the line pull and things that you're doing. So you can do like small hash marks and things like that. But real brush control starts only really coming into play with a larger brush. So I would implore that you start trying to paint with at least a number 2 round, artist round. And depending on the manufacturer, our number 2 is fairly small. Compared to like a Winsor Newton or a Raphael or something like that. They have a larger belly because they're made more for canvas painters. And so they have a much larger belly to retain more of what you would call a minimally diluted paste acrylic, right? Whereas we know we're dealing with in large, mostly liquid acrylics and diluted washes and things like that. But a number 2, I paint mostly with a number 2, a number 4, and a number 6.
Okay. Oh, and that's a good question to segue. On the topic of brushes, when you say a brush size is 00, what is it measured in?
That is just an age-old moniker for the size of the brushes. And, believe it or not, in brush making, it goes down to like numerics and letters, like a 5K. Well, what the hell does that mean? That's just an old artisanal thing that they put together. It doesn't have anything to do. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh,
It's an aught, right? So you would think of it in terms of more like, in microns or millimeters or things like that, but it doesn't anymore. So there might have been a measurement at one point in time that was based on, but not anymore.
That's very interesting. I did not know that.
You just use Noosh for the project. You painted your best iron hands and salamanders thanks to it. Amazing product. Awesome, Hobby
Nice.
ADHD. That's awesome. Glad you
love
like
to
it.
hear
It is
that.
an amazing product. A total game changer when people start playing around with it.
I call that a sleeper product, and then once you use it, it's there. You're never going back. Like, oh, should I try this thing? And then once you try it, you truly never go back. It's dope.
Super good.
I truly did not know that about brushes. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was like,
I mean, it is an industry standard. So, when you.
but it was just adopted by some old way.
I
of
say it's an
doing it.
industry standard. I guess that's kind of a lie. It's a standard in such that when people, if I were to call up a brush manufacturer and say, hey, we make a brush in a size 5. Can you send me a ferrule? they will know what questions to ask. Like if I'm buying our metal ferrules
Yeah.
from a company, they'll ask. But there are brush handle sizes that are meant for a specific ferrule size, and that ferrule size will do a brush head in this range. Like we use the same ferrule for our 0, double zeros, and maybe our 1. They may all go in the same ferrule. I'd have to double check. And then and then you have to change when you go super ultra small, like our 10-aught, which is our super small.
The professor is asking, what paints did Jason use before making his own? And does he try other company paints for research?
Not anymore. I have painted for 45 plus years, and so I've used a lot. I'm not the kind of old dog that says, I've done it all. I haven't done it all. And I'm always learning. We do not have like competitor paints in house. I learned in my product development life that it's good to understand what your competitors are doing, marketing, product wise, things like that. And probably good to go out and talk to people about it and stuff. But I don't ever want to have my product development philosophy dictated to me by what other companies are doing. We just make the stuff we want to use, and as artists we feel like that's enough. I started painting with the old Testors enamels that came in a glass bottle, little bitty glass bottle with an aluminum lid or steel lid. It was steel because it rusted, right? Steel lid, and then obviously anything you could get at craft, like, you say craft paint at the store, but they were totally different back then. You didn't have an aisle of 5 million folk art colors back then, right? And then everything from oils, enamels, lacquers, you name it, watercolor, trying that out. And then finally acrylics became something that wasn't just for kids finger painting anymore, right? Because you had like acrylic was really in the world of what do they call them? Starts with a P. I don't remember. Anyway, they were like literally laughed at if you painted with acrylics. It was like, kids paint. And then they got better and better and better, right? Because acrylics got better and better as adhesives and gave you a lot more ability to put more and more pigments in them and things like that. So, Necromancer, you miss the old Bomwick brushes so much. What about the Sables? Which ones? The original long-handled black ones? Because our Pro Sables are, in my opinion, the best Sables we've ever made. That does not mean, because with natural hair, the problem with natural hair brushes, one of the problems with natural hair brushes is that there's no real, there's a good baseline for quality. We can say that we reject any hair that doesn't meet these standards, right? Yeah. But then when from that baseline, through all the brushes that you make, you might get a brush that lasts you 20 years, and you might get a brush that lasts you 3 months from that same hair.
Yeah.
Right? Because it comes from animals.
Right.
And just like if I were to pluck a hair from my head and you were to have hair that's fine and straight and brownish gray like mine, and you plucked a hair from your head, they are not the same.
Yeah.
Depending on the animal's diet, their stress, the amount of skinning, the way that the cells, right, the hair cells along that grow can be larger or smaller and more scaly or not, from the exact same species, from animals you caught, right across the street from one another. It could be totally different. So it's not like synthetic. I like synthetic because the synthetic filament is the same from the beginning of the pull to the end of the pull on that batch. And so you can make a bajillion brushes that all have the exact same stuff. Necromancer's palette, the red ones. Yeah, the red ones we have now are the same. Feel more floppy than the old versions? Not as stiff, you mean? Bruno Burrito says, joke's on you, I don't have hair.
Oh.
Yeah, your dad's scale model train paint, same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, generally, Bruno Burrito, how many brushes have you made? I make all my brushes from my own hair. I have for 40 years.
We're going to have to get into that market. The Jason signature hairbrush. We'll just take one from every employee and then you decide,
like that
Chad.
funny picture we posted way long ago that had the brush made from pubic hair.
Oh, man.
Horrible. Just something I found on the internet, and it's funny because I contacted the guy to see if I could repost the picture in an ad, and he's like, that's not mine. He goes, I found it on Google or whatever.
That's
like,
hilarious.
Oh, fantastic. Well, then I'm definitely stealing it.
Google Ray says, what are use cases for brushes smaller than 0?
I mean, some people feel more confident dotting an eye, like an iris on an eye, stuff like that. You might want to have a really small brush. The problem is it just doesn't carry enough paint to be able to do the job you're trying to have it do 9 out of 10 times. So you get really disgruntled because, the problem with me and super tiny brushes and let's say you're trying to dot the pupil, right? You get the paint on it, you get it all perfect. The time it takes you to set up, stick your tongue out just right, hold the model still and go, doot, the paint's already dry because there's no paint on the brush, right? So, yeah, small brushes can be a pain, but they can also be really, really great for texturing. Really, really great for smaller details. It really just depends on the painter. I very rarely pick up anything smaller than a 1 in my painting. But we make brushes of all sizes for the people that do.
Yeah.
And
Preference,
I have
I
used
guess.
smaller brushes. I used to paint with a 2-aught way back in the day, a lot for details. Because when I was painting scale model stuff, the 2-aught was what I would do texture for fabric, but that's at 1/35th scale, modeling. So the models had a little bit more detail to them on the fabric and such. And when I started painting more wargaming miniatures, then that was not an issue anymore. You don't have the ability to really paint or need that small of a detail.
Yeah.
And the truth of it is that when you have a good point on a brush, you can do really, really fine detail. Learn to use the side of the brush, use the side of the point of the brush. You can start to get that brush control going, and one big brush can do a ton of working for you.
Well, recently I have been putting a lot less paint on my brush, which has really helped with the brush control too, regardless of the size, right?
Right.
I think because I was jamming a lot of paint on there, but now it's okay.
Yeah, the
I'll
more
use half the
paint,
amount.
your brush will reach saturation where it has
Yeah.
so much paint on it it can't take any more. And any extra you put on it just kind of rides along the top and has no control when you go to release it onto the model. And so that's why you see me put all that paint on my thumb palette all the time.
Yep.
Controlling the amount of material, we'll call it, right, on the brush is absolutely critical towards having a good foundation to paint from. That's where brush control starts, is making sure that the amount of paint you have on the brush is correct for the job you're about to do. And I'm a fan that says always aim for less, because you can come back after it, because more creates problems you may not, be able to rebound from.
What size brush are you using now, Jason? Is that the 3?
This is the 1.
That's the 1? Okay.
Yeah, I'm using the Dauntless. So the 1 has a 1, 3, 5. The Dauntless set has a 1, 3, and a 5 in it. And I'm really enjoying the 1.
I was about to say I like the 1 and the 3. I've been using the Dauntless, so
Yeah, I need to clean the 3. It's over here. It's
I
the
bought
one
a
that
trap-
it's the one that I painted most of this model with was the 3.
I bought one for home, a set for home and a set for my traveling.
Nice.
But yeah, definitely been liking the 3 and the 1 for sure. Source, yes, the Dauntless sale. The Dauntless brushes are for sale. Yep, they went up for sale last week. Source, how did you not know that? I've said that many times.
Source. Christopher, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Source,
I'm just going to leave it at
many
that.
times.
I'm going to leave it at that, Christopher. Don't
Source.
ask questions you don't want the answer to, Christopher.
I want the answer.
Christopher, I'm trying to save you from yourself, Christopher. Stop asking.
I have to.
Stop asking, Christopher. I'm saving you from yourself, Chris.
Oh, that's why, Source. I don't listen when Chris talks. Well, that's on you.
Chris,
I have announcements.
I warned you, Chris.
I have announcements, Jet.
I warned you, Chris. I tried to save you. And what did you do?
Speaking of being saved, it's 3
Welcome,
p.m.
Chet.
Welcome.
Welcome,
We're
Chet.
at the top and the bottom of the top of the bottom of the
Look
top
at how
of the
different
hour.
that looks on the arm plate than on the chest plate versus the rest of the
yeah.
model.
Compared to-
It took the shine off of the rest of the armor, didn't it?
Yeah.
When you place that bright color on there, everything else looks like it's just base coated now.
Yeah.
Right? Where it all looked shiny before. but now you put a bright color on it. It just shows you the impact. You know, we talk about it a lot. The brighter of a color you put on a model, it darkens everything around it. So a lot of times when you're saying, hey, how to make my shadows darker, maybe what you really ought to be asking is how do you make your highlights brighter? Like, remember, contrast goes both ways. You don't get contrast just by adding brightness or just by adding darkness. So if your model's missing something and you think it's because, hey, you know, my shadows aren't dark enough is what somebody said, and you're like, okay, well, can you make them darker and feel comfortable? Or are your highlights really just not bright enough? Because the brighter you make your highlight, the darker all your shadows are going to appear.
Source is saying, so when is Monument EU launching?
If
you even heard that, Source.
For as soon as I get back from France. I'm going to Poland for Contrast. Like I said, I leave in 2 weeks. I'll be at the Contrast over my birthday, for crying out loud.
Wait, you're leaving?
Yeah, I told you that. You know this. You've already been talking to the people about it. He's smiling. This is what I have to put up with, Chad.
I'm sorry.
So I go to Contrast on the 29th, and then I go to France to do the final dotting I and crossing T's with the employees over in France. And then hopefully everything's up and running after that. We'll be ready to launch the site. I spent a lot of time, really over this weekend and next week, getting the site ready to go. Now that the final business documentation was just signed today, or technically yesterday. So it's been a long haul getting it all right. But yeah, we're almost there. It's great. It's great.
Don't leave me alone here with Chris. Little Billy, you have no idea.
He is going to get you.
You know what? Jason and I had a serious business conversation this morning about what do we do on stream, and we're like, we're keeping it business. You're going to learn to paint.
Yes. No. I bet it'll be all nonsense.
Jason, come on now.
I'll tune in every now and
Jason,
then.
you know who I am. I'm a no nonsense kind of guy.
Northrax, yeah, that is a very astute comment, because I'm always trying to say that when you are painting white, try not to use white.
Yep.
Use a near white. We call them fake whites. So we have a lot of them in the line, right? So you have what we did the first pass with, which is bright neutral gray. You've got the white blue I'm using now. Another two of our favorites are pale yellow and bright pale yellow, right? Those four. Same with ivory and bright ivory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a range of colors here that all give you what you're looking for white. If I'm painting red, even pale pink falls in there. And that's about it. You've got the warm whites. You've got a couple of other colors like bright warm gray that can do it, and faded green that can do it, but they're a little bit darker. They're a shade darker and probably don't get you there. The olive flesh is a good one, right? So if you want all the near whites that we use, warm flesh, right? You tend to say that, okay, I've got colors like this, right? And a little bit of probably olive flesh. Colors like that I can use to replace white on cooler tones and neutral tones. Blacks, blues, purples, things of that nature. Obviously, if you're purple pushing red, you can use pale pink. And then you've got the ones that push you into more warmer tones, like for yellows and flesh tones and things like that. So this range gives you all the white you need. And you know, the funny thing, just picking a handful of them up here, right? And you look at them that way and you're like, holy hell, those are bright. And then you put white next to them, right? Then you say, yeah, that's super bright. And then you go, nope. You know, so when you come in with real white, what you don't realize is that these give you the idea of white on the model. So we get a nice shine, we get a really good coloration, we get to do everything we want to do. But then you say, oh, but if I want to boost it up even further, now I have white as that final tipping point that I can do as my final highlight. Rather than using white early on and then you're stuck. Where do you go from white? You can't add anything brighter anymore. So you better have gotten it right the first time, kind of a thing.
Spaznat, will Monument EU have a streaming setup so you can have European guests on the stream with them flying? Does Mally have a camera?
Well, we've thought about doing that. It won't happen immediately, because immediately we're figuring out customer service and shipping and all the things that we need to do to make sure it works.
Yeah.
As a business. And then, yes, we will look at ways that we can add it. Mally is a fantastic painter. I would love to have Mally. He was on here yesterday chatting with us. But I would love to have Mally be able to come on and paint. He's a fantastic award-winning painter. So we can do all sorts of fun stuff as
Huh.
we grow over there. But of course, first and foremost is getting the business set up to run correctly for the customer so that customers can order direct from Monument EU, get the product they want, customer service they want and need. That's our first and foremost thing.
Source says, will they have stock to start selling stuff day one? And does this mean we over here will have access to new products a little earlier than before?
So, yes, you will not have everything day one. We're starting out with largely just paints, paint sets. We'll have some go bags. I think they've got some brushes, but I don't guarantee that. I have to go check with the group and find out in distribution what they've got set for the order. But the first goal is to get the paints, but we will eventually be bringing more and more product over there. And yes, then you will be getting new releases the same time as North America, because we're in charge of sending to ourselves and not waiting on a distributor to purchase it.
That's kind of nice for you guys. Yeah, sweet, says Source.
Yeah, that's the whole goal,
That's
right?
the whole point.
The whole point of us doing this is not because we need more to do. It's because we really believe that our European customers are a little underserved in that arena because of the logistics of going through distribution. So we're doing it to increase our availability, compete better with the competition that's over there with a price that is more indicative of what we think it should be, because obviously as the importer of record, we can set the MSRP. So they'll be at a better value for you over there too, which I think is huge. We get to control what they should be sold for. And then retailers and distributors over there can get it a lot easier because they just order it from us in France. So yeah, it's going to be a generally very, very good thing for Pro Acryl and Monument Hobbies in Europe. We love you guys, and over the years it has gotten so frustrating because it's like, I just wish we could get it more. We have tons of people that want to support the brand, but they're like, I don't know where to send people to get it. And I'm like, well, that's
Right.
not good. And so we just are going to fix that.
No, Artistic Outlaw, we've determined that some of the belly is not metal and it is leather.
Yeah, the entire chest plate is leather. That's not skin. None of this is either. It's all leather. See this? If you pop in real close.
Yeah.
Well, you don't even have to pop in super close, but you see that?
Ooh.
That ridge is actually a rolled edge on the leather, and then you see how there's a dimension before it hits the skin. So it's like a bib.
Yeah.
It was an odd finding for me because when I saw the sculpt, I was expecting that to be skin, and it isn't. And then I was like, oh, well, we'll just make that metal. It'll be really bitchin'. And you're like, nope, it's not sculpted that way either. So it was like, oh, so we'll just paint it as leather.
Professor, yes, we've talked about having, so to kind of go back to what we were just talking about, we've talked about that internally about having guests. We've had our signature artist on. That was happened a little while ago, but we've talked about having more people on. We had Dallas on not too long time ago from AMG. You can find those in the VODs, yes, on YouTube. But hey, if Mally wanted to do that, we could get them all set up. Will be a little interesting with the time, but
yeah,
we could figure something out.
It's always tough. It won't happen every day. It would kill him.
Hey,
he's got
Mally,
work he's got to do, you know.
You know, Mally, can you stay up till what, 3 a.m.?
There's literally 2 people in our European office to start, so it's going to take us some time to grow.
Yes, Artistic Outlaw says, I meant below the chest and above the belt. It looks like there are rivets and seeing that incorrectly. No, there are rivets. But
there's studs
on
the armor for some reason. but the flex of it and the fact that there are not solid lines between these divisions, like you see this trim here,
Yeah.
there's not a solid line as it goes into the base. It rolls into the base like formed leather. Otherwise, I would have said those could have been metal trim on the leather, but there's no edge there. Like literally there's no edge there.
Yeah,
There's a facing edge, and then the back edge where it would connect to the leather rolls right into the leather. It's very soft, like a mold, which is indicative of how you might do, leather so that it has those hard edges that keep its form. If you were to make a belt, and that's why they roll the edges of leather, because it gives it more form. It's a unique design decision, I've been saying the whole time. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me lose a little bit of interest in the model when I got it in my hand and noticed that. But not too bad. Because people are like, well, you could just go ahead and paint it like skin anyway. I'm like, no. Unfortunately, my brain would keep me up at night for something like that.
Oh
legit.
my gosh. Those are the things that keep you up at night, Jason?
Those are the things that keep me up at night, Christopher.
Wow.
I hate admitting it.
No, that's not. That's okay. I get it, dude. Little Billy says, speaking of soft, Chris, where's the foot cam? No foot cam.
That's against terms of service, though, Billy.
When Jason's gone, you guys, I don't know what you're talking about. This will be serious business painting 101. Put paint on the model stream. I don't know what you're talking about. I am the captain now. We will. We talked about it this morning, Jason, and I let you feel the confidence of my decision making.
He lied to me. He duped me, chat.
Let's do that idea, Jason. Great. Yeah. Well, we got to do this. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, man.
I was like, hey, you have to please the people, Christopher.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like, of course.
Of course. And we're gonna teach them how to paint. Put paint on the model.
Of course.
No, it's Jordan and I are coming up with some fun workups for you guys while Jason is traveling. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. I'm actually very excited for that. So who knows? Because Baby J paints like a speed demon sometimes.
He does do that.
And he does
This
it well.
sword is really annoying.
I
It's
can't.
a good argument for sub-assemblies right here.
I'll be honest. I don't know how you haven't broken it or I haven't broken it having to take pictures of it. So I'm very proud of us.
So I right now am
'Cause look at
cupping the sword in the palm of my hand
Yeah.
and then resting my pinky against her hand so that I can paint these little bitty wispy brushstrokes on the edge detailing here. So I literally have this brittle resin sword in the palm of my hand as I'm trying to not destroy it. It's really giving me anxiety.
Yes, it is going to be Baby J for a week. Me and Baby J for a week and a day. Week and 2 days. We got some fun ideas for you.
I got to travel, chat.
It's going to be mainly Baby J, but I might hop on there, chat, if I think I can. Because here's the thing, you know what you want, chat, and I know what you want. But I also want to make sure that no debauchery. This is a serious business painting channel. New people come in. I don't want to steer anybody away.
Chat, X up if you're not believing any of this.
What are you talking about? I'm being totally genuine. I love painting, but I am best served. I best serve the company behind camera. That is where I best serve my
There's
hobbies.
my exes, people.
It's not a lie. I literally just spoke real truth. That's real truth, chat. Oh my gosh.
His middle name is debauchery, and your dyslexia is failing you, little Billy.
Oh no. No. We could finish Kamar Jin.
What about that Will guy? Let him on stream. My mom?
No, now we've confused the world.
Has a voice for silent pictures.
There you go.
Dang, Agrippa.
Dang. Buried.
I think Chris is a beautiful man, and he does some really unique voices.
I don't do any of those things.
Uh,
I am a straight and narrow, just, by the books, textbook guy.
Incorrect.
That's it.
Incorrect.
No excitement.
Incorrect.
No flavor.
I didn't say you were exciting. Let's back up and get it straight.
Wait a minute here.
I did not say you were exciting, Christopher. I don't want it to go to your head.
No, because here's the thing. What am I going to do? I'm going to paint Smaug on stream? You guys don't want that. Jason would be offended. He would go, Christopher Tisk Tisk.
That's how I talk. Tisk tisk,
Tisk
Christopher.
Tisk. Do.
That's also not how I
Here's
talk.
your unemployment papers and adieu. That's what would happen. He would come back and be like, well. So you decided to not do good things.
You made bad decisions.
Tisk. Yes, there'd be lots of dudes and deets.
And
if I painted.
Christopher, how do we reward bad decisions?
Oh no, with unemployment. Listen up, Chris, says Little Billy. Jason refused to give you a camera time because no one would pay attention when those beautiful eyes are looking at him. This is false.
Can you punch
Little
me
Billy.
back in? What do you keep going out like this for?
What do I go?
There you go.
What
What are you doing?
going out? I like going out. I like going back. I like going back and forth. Plus, you were holding them in a hard way, so I was trying to give you some wiggle room for your safety.
Oh, so it's for me now. Okay.
It kind of
Okay.
was.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure. That's it. Yes, I have chosen the path of pain. Yeah, I have. I'm just here trying to help my friend. That's it.
Oh, now we're friends?
Oh, there it is. Buried. Oh.
Oh, now we're friends?
Oh, no. Stay by my side, baby. Don't say goodbye. That's forever.
Oh, my God.
No, yeah, rip Chris. Yeah, I'm it. This is it. I'm planning on retiring this year, chat. 65 looks good on me, but not too good. This is it for me.
Planning on retiring. It's in his contract. He can't retire till 89. 20.
No.
20.
We're going to have a
89.
good, fun time, and we're going to be very serious and very professional here on this stream when Jason is gone. We deliver every time, chat. Don't ever doubt me.
Don't ever doubt.
We will be here for the people. And when I mean we, I do not mean Jason, because he will not be here. But we'll figure it out. Because we already have figured it out. You don't even have to worry one little bit, chat. You are the waves beneath the boat, and Jason is the captain. And I've been telling you I'm the skipper, but guess who really is the boat? That's me. I'm the boat. I am the boat.
Does he worry you like he worries me?
So
Does this-
regardless of the captain, the boat will stay afloat.
does,
And regardless of the waters, it will remain afloat.
does
sorry.
this worry anybody else when he does this? Or is it just me?
What? What am I worrying you about?
The things.
The things?
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
my
I don't
health?
understand. Like your health, your personal health?
Yeah.
Chris Chat's job is quite literally to doubt you. That's false, Blood Walrus.
100%.
False.
So doubt.
Good man.
Oh, Chris. What else you got planned this weekend, Chris? What are you going to be doing other than tonight?
Besides tonight? Let's think about this. I
didn't mean
I've
to stump
got-
you. It's only a
no,
weekend.
no, no.
dude. It's
I'm-
only
I'm
2 days.
thinking. I've got a crawfish boil on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
I'm going to a crawfish boil.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Where's that happening?
Gabe and I. It's happening at Heritage Church where Jason Fisher is at.
Oh, okay.
Kevin there. Yep. And then on Saturday night, I'm hanging out with some old friends I haven't seen in forever, back from college. And then Sunday, What am I doing Sunday? I'm doing a bunch of yard. I'm helping my parents with a bunch of yard work. They got a bunch done in their backyard. So yeah, I have a power packed weekend.
Power packed week. That sounds like a lot. A lot of little bit wispy lines on this damn belt thing. Not gonna lie. These Dauntless brushes are doing a great job.
What are you doing this weekend?
I'm going to a gala,
Oh well, that's tonight. Technically, that's not the weekend.
and then I don't know. I don't have any plans.
The
I
freedom.
keep telling myself I might come in and paint, but that never happens.
Huh. Okay. Here's an interesting thing. The Freedom Fry says, not to change the subject, but I feel Chris needs to know that there's a subreddit called the Society of Hidden Paint that's dedicated to painting areas of a model that won't be seen? What? What?
Now I know what Chris is doing this weekend.
Oh no.
I'm torn here because on one hand I love that you just gave him something that is completely melting his brain.
No, I have too many things I have to do, chat. I can't be looking at this kind of stuff. I have so many calls. So back, okay, I see. It's your nemesis, Chris. What? Sounds like he's trying to. What? Yeah, there's one out there. Interesting. Wow. I'm so sorry. It's not. I'll. That's just not good. People painting the inside of their models and then gluing them shut. What?
Heresy.
No. I knew it. I knew it. I knew there was hidden communities out there. But you could say that about any subreddit community. There could be a community for anything. Right?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm just saying right to chat. Like you could find any community if you look hard enough for it. You can find the ones that name any freaky wild thing.
Don't, please.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that. This is a family stream.
Family stream. Hey, speaking of a family stream,
Welcome, everyone.
welcome in everybody. It is almost 3:30 p.m. here. It is Mountain Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona.
How we doing,
What I would
Chris?
like to say is welcome. Where have you been? We're so glad you're here. And also, if you missed this week, if you go back in our VODs tab on YouTube, you can see Jason using a bunch of our heavy bodies. And when I mean heavy bodies, I mean expert artist acrylics that will be coming out next week. So stay tuned. But he's been painting up this model quite well, I will say. He's doing all right.
I'm getting the hang of this painting thing. I feel like it's coming along. This is my journey, chat.
Michael said, have painted mostly 75 millimeter models since last fall. Painting the Row Rider faces last night made my last 5 hairs fall out.
The Rail Rider faces?
The Atalan, Rough Riders.
Oh, yeah. The
Did I say
Imperial
that right?
Guard. It's the horseback dudes.
Chris,
Yep.
I'm not usually the laugh out loud kind of guy, but you've got me like 5 or 6 times today. Teachman, I'm not trying to make jokes. What are you talking about? I'm a serious businessman. Beginner question from Deuce Do
Awesome.
here. Beginner question, but what is he using to get the right moisture on the brush? Is it paper or cloth, cotton cloth? It is a paper towel off to his palette there.
Yeah, it's a literally a piece of paper towel. Cheap paper towel. Cheap Costco paper towel.
And you've been using it for a minute.
I think I got a new one yesterday.
You
I
did?
think I threw the old one away. I change them out like every day and a half or something like that. Well, not always. Sometimes I reach over here and I realize it's not taking any moisture off the brush because it's just solid acrylic now.
Yeah.
So I have to replace it though, because it will get to the point where you're like, oh, that's not working. That's not what I need.
Six says last stream Jason suggested dark umber and dark ivory for dirty purity seal paper. What paints would be used for clean ones?
I said the same ones.
But
The
not
question-
sullied by combat.
The question had been, what would you do for clean and for dirty? And I answered saying I would use the same colors. Remember that the goal is to use less or let less of the dark color show through when you're making it dirty purity seals, and more of the darker color show through when you want dirty ones. That make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
It really is that simple. I know it seems kind of too simple, but that's the way it works, right? That way you can make a color combo you like for, and this is true of everything from skin, hair, armor. If you have something you like for a particular material, then you can use that same 2 or 3 colors, generally 3 or more, right? For it, regardless of how dirty or dark or anything like that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now that belt is coming alive. I'm liking it.
Heck yeah. Wad says, oh man, make like a message and seal it up in the Rhino. Then at some point, sell it and give it away. Then 10 years later, someone drops it off the table, breaks open. There's a hidden message. What a story that person would have. That's not a bad idea. But I don't, like I said, you don't want to paint it. I don't mind the note inside the Rhino.
Like a message in a bottle.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Just don't paint it.
It'll be a message inside of an unpainted Rhino, is what Chris is saying. In the best world. Because only crazy people paint the inside of rhinos.
I guess so. Northrex. I've seen scale modelers that hide their name or logo somewhere inside the kit where you can't see it. Okay, well, that's different. That's a little different, right? That's more of like an Easter egg hidden message. I'm talking about painting the inside of something and sealing it shut. A message like, oh, Butterfingers, treat your miniatures better. Yeah, if it falls off, Avian.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Hey,
The message would
if
be like,
you're
what are you doing looking in here?
if you're reading this, something bad has happened.
It's private in here.
The note would read, paint the inside, Chris. No, I won't do it. No, little Billy, I don't. I do that for you. I do that to entertain the chat. I could stop talking, but I don't do that.
He has to talk when I'm focused.
Yes, I don't want there to be. I don't want you to just be out in the ether, not doing anything you can't do.
All right. I'm done plucking at the belt for a minute. Getting there. Got to paint a couple of Marines and also glue them inside the Rhino. Okay, yeah.
No, panic bomb. Then
Yeah.
that's when you're really getting.
That's a good use of time.
That's when you're really getting down and
It's a good use of time. It's like when you have if there's a porthole and you paint the face looking out the porthole and then you paint the whole model that you can't see inside. Right? It's like, why didn't you just stop at the face?
I see.
It got the point across, right?
Huh.
Why did you have to go further?
So would Chris talking equal the paint side of it? Hey, I'm here for you, chat. You know,
Chris is more than just filler, chat. I need you to be nice to him.
no, I don't need your kindness, chat. I don't need that. I don't need your kindness. I need your willing heart to get paint on a model. That's all I require of you.
Okay, all right.
See that? Me shaking my little train horn. You can't see that, chat, but Jason can because I'm shaking the whole desk here. And the
Avian,
whole
I
monitor.
feel like that's a Therapy Thursday statement.
Why? Because I hate myself. That's why. Whoa, Avian. Whoa. Let's back up a little bit.
I'd like you to talk more about that.
No, that's not good advice,
That was
therapist.
Perfect.
That's true.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
That was perfect. You gonna paint it? We already talked about that. Do Marines actually fit inside rhinos? Barely. You got to cut them off at the shins, right? We've used a lot of white blue. It does not look like we have, but we have used a lot of white blue. This is my third time putting white blue on the palette.
Yeah. The note reads, "You just destroyed 20 hours of careful painting." Well, it's not bad.
It depends. I mean, you could pry
It
the door
depends.
open.
Well, you know, if you're going to go that deep, then at that point, you're going deep, man.
Well, now anytime I have a rhino that I didn't build, I'm going to have to pry it open because I'm going to wonder if somebody put a time capsule.
or if they
message in.
painted it inside.
Oh, that's even worse.
What if you, because how do you know? You only know if you were the man or woman who did it.
I don't know that I can do this.
That's just for some reason what got. What do you mean? What can't do this?
I don't know if I can do this anymore, chat.
Do what?
The whole worry about the inside of the rhino thing.
Oh no, that's not something that keep you up at night.
It may now.
Are you gonna go check every rhino in the building?
No.
Dude, what if you found a check for like $1 million in a rhino though?
I don't think that's a thing.
It could be.
Some altruistic nerd
Could be.
put $1 million in a rhino.
Heck yeah, dude.
I don't think that's a thing. I'm not ready for the world where that happens.
Yeah, that will, Thor. It will keep us up at night. That's what I'm saying. Don't do it, Avian. Don't smash that model with a hammer to see if there's $1 million in it. Don't do it.
Video it. Chris and I are like the different angels on your shoulder.
Whoa, what angel am I?
The white one.
You're the bad one?
Yeah.
Because you're telling him to.
I'm the devil.
Oh, no.
You're the angel.
Oh. Henry Cavill just said, Henry Cavill did it. He told me in a dream I had. Okay, no.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either.
Doing these edges, notice how I will do a very thin edging on all of it, and then I'll thicken it up in an area, right? So I pull the same thin line down this edge, and then I thicken it up right here where I want it to be brightest.
Not a rhino, but my Land Raider was painted, says Michael Holtz. Okay, yeah. Same
Inside?
thing. Wait,
Did the front ramp open?
I want to make sure. The note said, yeah, did Michael Holtz? Because that's different. Well, because that's different, though. See, we have to be clear on this, right? If you're painting something that can be opened and you could show people, then that's okay, right? I'm saying if you super glue something shut and it's painted, that's insanity, right?
You don't have to convince me. I'm with you, Chris.
Alex WP says, so what does Chris think about the people who don't glue the vehicle ramps closed? Are they unhinged too? No, that's what I was saying, Alex. Yes, it is more of, I think they are, that's fine. That's dedication. The gluing of it shut's insanity. It's a very fine line you got to ride, though, right? Very fine line. No, it doesn't, Thumb Palette, it doesn't matter what kind of material they use to seal it. I don't care if they welded the thing shut. I'm saying if they painted the inside of something and made it unreachable with the naked eye / hand to open it, they need to seek help immediately. And I'm willing to help.
I'll have this. Hear more about this naked eye hand.
I'll have this conversation with them. I am not afraid. I could sit with somebody and be like, I hear you. I understand you. I just don't get it. Help me understand what you're going through. No, I'm not judgmental. It's more of, I'm not, here's the thing.
He's very judgy.
I'm not judgmental.
He's
I just don't want people
judgy.
to go down a dark, deep road of insanity.
Very judgy.
What? I am not. I don't want
judgy.
people to paint the inside of their models and glue them shut.
Christopher sits over in his little roost of an office and judges all of us daily.
Oh my gosh.
You can feel it happening. I have to look out there every now and then because I'm like, I feel like I'm being judged. And sure enough, there's...
Yeah, that sounds like me. That sounds like me, chat. I want you...
judgy.
Little Billy says, chat, Chris doesn't want us to be happy. That's false. I want you to be very happy. I want you, chat. I'm gonna make this very clear right now.
Chad, I want you to listen to what he just said. I want you to commit that to memory, that he wants us to be happy. And then I want you to remember what happens at around 3:57 every day.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And I want you to then relate upon this statement that he's making right now and see if it holds true at 3:57 today, chat, when he goes, hey, speaking of having a great day, it's about that time. You'll be like, hey, Jason.
I understand.
This is the part where I don't want chat to have any more fun.
All right, chat. Here's the deal. I'm going to say this once, and then I'm never going to say it again. False. That's a lie. I probably will say it again because I want you to do this thing that I'm about to tell you. I only have one request of chat. I don't care about anything else. I have one request, is that you sit down or stand, whatever you do, to get yourself comfortable and put paint on the model. That's it. That's it. Right? That's all I'm asking you to do. I don't care. I will take the slings and the arrows all day. I don't mind. I don't care about that. If you were putting paint on the models, I'll take that. I'll take that bullet. I make mistakes. I'm a human being. Beep boop. Or am I?
Anybody believing any of this?
I'm a human being. Put paint on the model.
Yeah, Chris glued rocks on his gargants. His advice cannot be trusted.
Wait,
T. Schmidt. T. Schmidt, smartest man in the room.
We don't bring up the past. This is the future. Oh, T. Schmidt, you've done me dirty. Don't bring up my past sin. Horrible, horrible. Maybe I'm the devil on the shoulder.
Big sigh, Chris.
It is. Kyle Sparks, Chris, we've seen your face yesterday. No.
It made it to Discord. Thank you, by the way.
That
chat,
wasn't
for
me.
Making my dream come true with that.
That wasn't me. That was an imposter. Watt says, I don't know that Chris is human. I bet he can't even identify all the pictures with the bicycles.
I can't identify all
Beep
the
boop.
pictures with the bicycles.
Here's a picture. Can you tell us where all the bicycles are? And there's bicycles. And then one of the frames has a smidgens brick of the bicycle, like the mirror or something, just like a little smidgens. If you don't click that one, they're like, well, you didn't click all the bicycle squares.
Robot.
Robot canceled, uninstalled, reported.
My computer burned. Started smelling smoke. Electrical fire.
So, no, Thor says, Chris is trying to sabotage Monument by telling us to use less paint by not painting the interiors of models. Whoa, clutches the pearl. Clutch the pearls. No, Thor, that's not what I mean. I'm just saying there are many other options for you to paint things that are outside of the inside, right? On the outside of your models, the things that people see, right? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Why do you feel like you're taking crazy pills?
Because people are out there and they're like, no, you have the problem.
No, you have the problem.
Honestly, I'm 99% sure some of these tests fail you even when you get all the sections. Oh, yes, Alex, I understand. Little Billy says, I invented the piano key necktie. I invented it.
What are you thinking, Chris?
I think it looks good. What are you thinking?
I'm liking it. I'm having a good time. It's always good when the painter's happy.
The greater grr. I see the gray interior in my mind's eye. Well, then that's on you. The greater grr. I like that name.
That's
the
a
greater
great name.
grr. I hope that's how that's what you were going for. The great grr. The great grr.
By the way, chat, we are not
Great
in any
grr.
way trying
Great
to
grr.
offend somebody who loves painting the interior of their rhinos.
Oh, I guess I
No-
didn't think about it that way. You're right. Now
No
I
matter-
take it
see,
all back.
Chris isn't
Wow.
thinking about you.
Wow. You're
I
right.
am.
Maybe so. Maybe. Wow. Now I won't be able to sleep tonight
See?
because
You shouldn't.
I've
You're a
just
horrible
realized
person.
all of the wrong that I did to people.
Horrible person. Don't even think about these people. And the great, you tell them to put paint on the model, and then, oh, but not that way.
Yeah.
Jeez, Chris.
I understand. I understand.
I understand. I will go home and there'll be some masochism involved.
There will be. I don't hate any of you. That's false. Terrence Watkins. I don't hate any of you. Too many life rules. I need my bourbon. Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
All right. Back this up. Put paint on the model. Now I have to take it all back. I just wanted to be here for you. But maybe I'm the bad person. Chat,
Are
maybe
we
that's
the bad guys?
maybe I'm the bad guy. Maybe I should be painting the inside of my models and shutting them. That doesn't sound right to me, but hey, maybe that's just my dumb opinion.
Chad, I think he feels bad now.
I do now. I've lost all the air in my sails because now I'm listening. Now I see the other side of this. Now I see the other side of, well, what if I do paint the inside? Are you mad? I'm like, no, I just am concerned for your health, your overall mental stability.
Chris, there's always air in your sails. It's wind you're worried about.
Oh, wow.
Just
You're
checking.
right.
Just checking. Making it. You said the air in your sails. You lost the air in your sails.
Thumbpal Enthusiast says, there's a question in the Discord. So the bottle Pro Acryl Black Primer says don't thin, but I can't get it out of my airbrush if I don't. Even at a high pressure. Or maybe I'm screwing something else up. Am I right in thinking that the brush-on primer can't be airbrushed?
Correct.
Oh, it's talking about the... Yeah, if you're talking about the brush-on primer, the message here doesn't say the brush-on primer. No, it says brush-on there, and then we have airbrush.
The brush-on primer is not for airbrush.
No.
It is too thick.
That's the point. It's not for the airbrush. It's to brush on.
The airbrush primer can be brushed on a little bit. It doesn't work as well. It came first, and a lot of people can use it for brush on and have, but at the end of the day, it's really meant to be airbrushed. So definitely, if you're taking the brush on primer and thinning it to put it in the airbrush, it won't work. I mean, I guess at one point in time you could thin it down, but you better be better off just using black paint at that point.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, if you're airbrushing is our airbrush primer is for that, so you shouldn't have to thin that at all. Thor says, will there be a monthly contest for the painting of the interior sealed models? No.
Yes.
What?
Oh, I mean, no.
No.
Of course not. Why would we do that? That would be like instigating wrongness. And we are not wrongness instigators here.
We're not wrong. That made my brain sink.
Sink. Along with your airless sails.
My airless sails.
Teeny weeny brush strokes here, folks. You want to pop in super close on that?
Yeah.
You can see that I'm literally just making a bajillion little vertical brush strokes there to create that line rather than painting a line across, because metal has a grain to it. Mm-hmm. And I've worked with metal a lot of my life. And so that when you bend metal, you bend it along the grain and not against it. And so that grain I can feel like it has, some presence here with littler brush strokes like this. I'm not trying to blend them together. We literally leave them showing, so you get the feel of texture on the metal. You can do this to greater or lesser extent. If you want it to look smoother, obviously do less. Or if you want it to look a little bit more beaten, then you can do lots more. I'll put some larger little peaks towards the edges where it would be like the reflection of the edge of the metal. Like here at the front, right? A little bit longer line there as this overlapping metal part would reflect back into the one before it. Sometimes that's a little hard because like right here where the reflection would be, there's a rivet. So it makes it hard to make that happen there and look right, but you can still kind of try.
Jeremy, no sorries needed. We love questions. How do you keep your sable hairs from splitting while you're painting larger areas?
I don't use sable brushes. But these are synthetics that you see me painting with. These are our Dauntless synthetics. These are our cheap synthetics. I hate using the word cheap, but that's what these are. I'm a big fan of synthetic brushes because they have a stiffer bristle, and I like a lot of snap to my brush. I like the brush to bend and then go back to straight very quick. So I use synthetics. To keep a sable from splaying the tip is usually a matter of the pressure you're applying when you're painting. All brushes, as they have a conical shape, and so as you press more onto the surface of the model, let me get a clean brush here, right? So one of our or Pro Synthetics. So, you know, a larger conical shape, it doesn't matter if it's a Sable or a synthetic, but it has a cone shape, it's round. And as you press and bend the brush, you'll notice that more pressure tends to then deform the tip. It doesn't hold a sharp tip. The more pressure I put, the more it flattens the tip out like that, right? And then it winds up doing that chase the tip thing. So now we've got a flat kind of cat tongue shape, and then if you rotate it 90 degrees, you've got a very sharp point. So, and this is on a video on our YouTube called Chasing the Point. Mm-hmm. And what I do as you paint, the heavier your hand, the fewer brush strokes it takes to have then the tip lay flat. But then rotate the brush 90 degrees, and there's your point again. And then you paint with that point, and it gives you a couple more brush strokes depending on and then it flattens out, and then you rotate it, and there's your point. So I call it chasing the point because you're constantly rotating the brush 90 degrees to get back to the sharp edge to do your detailing. And then, however, if you press really hard, it's probably only 1, 2, or 3 strokes you get before it flattens out. Then rotate it again, get your point back. 1, 2, 3. Right? Flattens out, rotate, get your point back, and just learn to paint like this no matter what brush you have. Sable, synthetic, no matter what, this works for everything. It helps your synthetics not form a curl because unbeknownst to most painters, they paint the same way. A lot of painters, believe it or not, will paint either where they can't see any of the writing or where they see all of the writing on their brush. Some people don't pay any attention, but they still will find themselves grabbing the brush and holding it and then cleaning it and getting paint and then coming back over it and always painting in the same direction. And that causes the brush to start to form a hook. So always rotating your brush is a great thing. And like I just showed you, you'll keep a nice point if you rotate 90 degrees each time because your brush only flattens out along the pressure direction, and then you rotate 90 degrees off that, you're back to a slice of nice pointed brush.
And then Jeremy, off of that, would I be better as a beginner going back to the synthetic brush?
Not necessarily. Sable brushes tend to be softer, so they will do better with a heavy hand. If you feel like you're painting with what I call heavy hand, meaning a stronger brush stroke, nothing wrong with that. A sable brush is better for you because a sable is generally softer, so the harder you press, the longer it takes to deform the tip, whereas a synthetic is generally stiffer, it's plastics, and as you press, the tip will deform a little bit quicker. It won't hold that knife edge as quick. A sable will start to split with, it takes more pressure to make the sable split, whereas the synthetic will start to flatten out much quicker.
Okay.
I just paint with a softer hand. I don't usually, unless I'm base painting or doing some heavy texture, I don't have a very heavy hand, and so I can paint with a synthetic and get away with it, and it works really, really well. But no, as a beginner, I typically tell people to start with synthetics that are on the lower cost side if you're a true beginner, so you can find what you like, find what size works for you, and then buy a sable of the size you find yourself using the most in a lesser expensive brush. You know, like our Dauntless set has a 00135 and a BAB flat brush. So out of that 1, 3, and 5, you can use that set because that set's $22.50 for 5 brushes. So that's a really good value. Find the size you find yourself using the most. And then if you want to try a sable, go buy that size. Because, you know, for a sable brush, you might spend anywhere from $15 to $30 for a brush in the size that we paint with.
Yeah.
And that's about right. But before you go spend that times 5 and find out, because I do not recommend buying sables anything smaller than a size 0. Like very, very rarely. And because you just don't have enough hair in the brush to make a difference of what it's made out of at that point. So buy synthetics, because none of the small brushes are going to be very good at what they do anyway.
Yeah.
Over time, if you're using them for like heavy duty painting. Right?
Yeah.
The joke rule of thumb I heard was if your brush is touching the model at all, you're pressing too hard. Yeah, that's a joke. You got to touch it a little bit. But you'll notice, like as I'm painting right now, you see me move my hand a lot more than you see paint hit the model because I am not touching the model a lot of the time. You know? And it's not that I can apply paint not touching the model, but it's that I'm sizing up my paint stroke. You know, it's like a batter, you know, swinging the bat for practice before they get in there because I don't want to just go and put paint on the model. A lot of times when I'm trying to do something fine detail like this, like I just want to get a little bit of reflection off of this spike onto the model here. So you'll see me move my hand, punch in close.
Yeah.
All right, you'll see me move my hand as I get started on the direction and kind of get my hand-eye coordination working, and then I go closer and closer until I finally get the little point on there. Right? And that kind of guarantees that I get, you know, exactly what I'm looking for when I want it. And then same thing over here. Maybe I want to do a little dot here. Right? And then over here, maybe a little swoosh as well. Again, it's like pecking at it and closer until I get just a little nick of paint. That tends to work a lot better at the end of the day. For me, at least. to ensure that I'm not getting a big broad brushstroke. I don't hit it with a big heavy-handed brushstroke that winds up causing me to have to go back and repaint an area. Because especially the finer your details get, you get to this level of the model where you're doing these little bitty brushstrokes, getting very fine detail put on it. You don't want to have it, overdo an area and put a big thick line on there. That's why I typically say when you're learning to paint details, go in and do a line as thin and as diluted. So you thin your paint a little bit more so it's not opaque, and get that paint situated right, and then go back with the opaque version and put it inside that. So you use one of them as a guideline, sort of, right? Until you really get a good feel for it. Feel like it's coming, chat.
You
know what sucks about today? If you tell me it is time too. God dang it!
It is
I
time.
have to go to this freaking thing.
It is time.
And I am not excited
We
about
have to be very on point.
I'm going to. What's that?
We have to be on point. You
Why?
have to.
Why? Why?
Wait a minute.
Tell me why.
I will tell you why. Because I run a tight ship, and I've been demanded to run a tight ship.
Who demanded that of you, Chris, other than yourself?
Jason, HBDC.
It's not my name.
The number 7, the letter Q, Jason.
Never in my life.
Shout out to Brian Regan. Oh, no. Genuine Vision. Rating with 28 Raiders. We're just about to leave. But welcome in for the most power-packed 3 minutes of your life. We are Monument Hobbies. This is Jason. I am
Hi.
Christopher.
Anyway, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Genuine, thank you so much for that raid. We appreciate that.
Welcome, everyone. We are finishing up the armor. I almost am at a point where it's like, oh, wow. We actually got a lot done today.
You did get a lot done today.
Painting one color. Each of these last 3 days, I think I painted one
Well,
color.
that's okay. That you got a bunch of stuff done. And what'd you do? You put paint on the model.
Yeah, doing this armor.
Nice. Thank you, Genuine. Appreciate it. And have a good night.
On our Wraith Queen.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Doing some of the final deets and doots to get the crazy silver-ish armor done. And I'm liking it. It's been a lot of fun. Model's got a lot of neat shapes. Big Bob, what's going on?
Yes, it's looking very awesome. And you know what else is awesome?
Take it easy, Jan.
Jason's great, isn't he?
Oh, Alex, I'm using the Dauntless #1 all day today.
Yep.
Our budget synthetics. It's a very low cost alternative to brushes for those of us that either paint a lot and go through a lot of brushes and don't want to spend $1 bajillion every time, or new painters that want to get a feel for what an artist round looks and feels like. So, T. Schmidt, thank you. No, I'm enjoying it. The whole goal here was to show you how well the new artist acrylics, the expert acrylics that we're coming out with, work alongside our normal line. So we base coated all of this with our normal Pro Acryl paints, and then we took the Pro Acryl Expert series, right? And we've been using those to show you how you can glaze a lot quicker, get a lot more intensity out of it, and play with color and have a really fun experience as you kind of, go through the process of either, learning mixing and blending for the first time or getting deeper into what you already know. They just give you an awesome tool that can kind of, push your creativity a lot further. So, as you see, to me, this is where I really find my stride, is when you can just kind of freeform it and start throwing color at the model, and all the colors are really intense and really hit hard the first time, but still lay, if you punch in super close for me, they still lay super flat. I don't get any texture I didn't mean to have, right? So everything on here is still very smooth. I'm creating texture with my brush strokes, but everything on here lays very smooth. So even though we're using a thick artist acrylic, we haven't clogged a single detail. Nothing at all. They work fantastic. They give you a tremendous palette of colors to work with, and I've been having a ton of fun. And, as you start doing this and start having that kind of fun, then it really exposes you to finding those things that, I won't call them happy accidents, you just kind of fall into really cool ideas.
Yeah.
As we've been painting this, I've just been picking up color and putting it on there and been like, how about some blue?
Well, the overall green vibe of it, I didn't, kind of didn't come to fruition until yesterday.
Oh, that was like the last 30 minutes of the show yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we went back and we glazed the yellowish green over the top. That was just sap green and Nicolazzo yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Worked out great. So thank you so much, everybody. Sometimes the model starts to paint itself. That's the way I feel, and it really is the truth. The model starts dictating to you what it wants to be, but that only works when your brain's in tune with having fun and just thinking that way. Doesn't mean you can't start with an idea of color, but always be willing to kind of move that color in unique ways so that you get more depth to the model. It expands the way you feel about your art at the end of it. I think it's a great thing. Everyone, thank you guys and gals so much for joining us. This whole week has been awesome. I hope you've had a lot of fun, and we've kind of jogged your brain with some cool ideas that you can jump into. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I'm going to go to a gala. Yay, fun. I'm not excited about it. Anybody want to go for me?
You'll have a good time once you're there.
Yeah. But we will be back next week. Remember, we do this Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here out of Monument HQ in Phoenix, Arizona. We'd love to see you back. So if you're new around here, please hit that follow button if you're on Twitch, the sub button if you're over on the YouTubes. We'd love to see you again. Make sure to check out all the links that Chris put up in chat for those of you that have not tried any of our products. You can go to monumenthobbies.com and get yourself a bottle of Pro-Acryl and see. Might just change your hobby life. We believe we make the best paints in the biz. And we put them to the test every day here on stream. So thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. Make sure to stick around for the raid. Chris is going to take us to a channel to show you more hobby goodness as we go off into the evening. Show some love in the chat we wind up in, and we'll catch you on the flip side, chat. I'm out. Adios.